Hey everybody, welcome to another video. And this video is about, hey, my wife bought me a knife. Any of you guys had your wife ever bought you a knife? Okay. Anyway, so she says, I got a surprise for you. And she shows me a little plastic bag with this in it. And I'm like, I kind of knew right away it had to be a knife. So I'm like, wow. And I was kind of like expecting a lot because she's into these estate sale auctions where she bids on things that look valuable. But 9 times out of 10, they're all just fake jewelry and BS. And I really doubt if some of these estate sales or estate auctions are for real. I think it's just some people at home just selling retail stuff over mail order, basically. Anyway, uh, so I opened this up, and the last time my wife bought anything that had to do with knives was this from TJ Maxx. So I really should not have expected much, right? So anyway, I go to open the box, and this is what it is. Let me see here. I didn't even bother looking closely at the box. I just opened it right away, and boom. This is what it is. I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with this brand. In fact, the brand is not even on the knife. The only thing that it says on the knife is the focus. See, China. It says China. Okay. And then you got the steel. Okay. So that's the steel. And it's made in China. You got the full axis lock thing. Action is completely stiff. And flippability is nil. Okay. It feels gritty. I could literally feel the grit on the knife, and the more I handle it, the more gray my hand turns. I tell you what, I hate to say this, but this is the kind of knife that gives China a really bad name. It's just, it's just horrible quality material. It's just, from a distance, you might look at it and say, yeah, that looks like a pretty high quality knife. But then when you pick it up and feel it, you could feel your hands getting dirty from touching it. You could tell. Look at the liner. Look at that liner. It just looks unrefined. Basically, real cheap slab or little piece of steel there. Blade. All blades are gonna feel sharp. You can't go by feel. You can't even really go by cutting paper, let's say. Let me see here. Yeah, this is basically a paper bag, and it couldn't cut its way out of a paper bag, literally. Okay, it's one of those knives where you have to kind of like really catch it at a right angle for it to start digging in and cutting smooth. Okay. Like I said, any knife halfway decent or halfway sharp, it's gonna cut paper. You really can't tell if a knife is if a knife is a good cutter or not by just cutting paper. Um, but just I don't know. Uh, I'm sure if I washed this, oiled it, greased it up, or loosened the whatever, and broke it in, I could possibly flip it open, and all this and that. But why even try? I mean, you could tell just by looking at the liner how crappy this knife is. I mean, that's just really cheap steel there. That part right here. There's nothing solid about that. Um, it's basically I looked it up as best I could. I couldn't find the exact knife, and when I did, it didn't have a price on it. It just had pictures of the same exact knife on the internet. Uh, I would say this is no more than a $20 knife, $19 knife. So what did she pay for it? She paid $22. She bid $22 with tax, and not tax, but with delivery and these other charges, wound up paying over 30 some dollars for this knife. And I'm like, you know what? If this was a Civivi or if this was a Wii knife, I would say it was a okay deal, all right? But this isn't that. This make is a Moss. If anybody out there know the brand I'm talking about, please comment down below. Let me know. Educate me if this is, in your opinion, a good knife or what. But I'll be honest with you, it's one of those knives that is really trying to look expensive, but it if you can, I mean, come on, this is supposed to be G10, okay, but it's more like G dirt. I mean, I just feel dirty holding this knife. I gotta go wash my hand. Anyway, people who sell this stuff, aside from people who sell this stuff at flea markets and at gas stations, people who sell this stuff online, posing products like this as part of an estate sale, as if it's part of somebody's treasured collection and things like that. And then you have unsuspecting buyers who don't know much about anything look at stuff like this and say, oh, it's got to be of more value than what they're charging because it's an estate sale, right? Well, come on, folks. I told my wife don't buy knives anymore because you shouldn't really spend money on things you don't research on. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I want to throw this away or keep it as I much prefer to keep something like this to open boxes with and open packages with, because actually this is more you can control this, even though this is a cheap whatever, you can actually control this. It's very hard to hurt yourself with something like this. With a cheap knife, you wind up hurting yourself. Already by me holding this like this, I felt this budge a little bit. Yeah, there's a tiny little bit play that I felt. Yeah, and that was because this lock here wasn't moved all the way forward. It was kind of stuck a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you have to resort to carrying a cheap knife like this, stay away from these fancy axis lock kind of deals. They call this the rolling lock. It's supposed to roll into the niche there and lock the blade in. I'm not sure how strong that is. I don't know how strong the spring is. I mean, if you have $250 to $300 Benchmade knives with access locks where the Omega spring can occasionally fail, okay? How are you going to trust a $19 Chinese made knife with springs that keep the rolling lock forward, right? I mean, it's pretty strong feeling right now, but how long can you rely on that? If you're working with this knife, if you're so poor that you have to buy something like this and you take it to work with you every day and you're cutting open boxes and you're putting a lot of stress and pressure on the blade and the handle and everything, how long do you think that this will hold up and be safe enough to keep on using every day? So if you're going to rely on a pocket knife for work, okay, and you cannot afford a lot, and let's say $15, $20, $25 is all you can afford, buy a traditional folding knife that you know you have to be careful with, and otherwise it's going to close up on you. And if you are going to buy a locking blade, okay, try to get a lock back or a liner lock. And the reason I say that is because at least those are a little bit more proven. Those have been around, and even the cheap ones are somewhat reliable, okay? But like, there's cheap ones where I wouldn't trust my life on because the liners locks are very weak. You know, the steel that is used for the liner lock part is just basically very thin metal, and it can just fold under pressure. I would not trust anything that tries to mimic more expensive knives, but it's only like 10, 15, 20 bucks. Yeah, don't trust those knives. If you're gonna spend only 10, 15, 20 bucks, spend it on a traditional folder, a fixed blade, something that's proven as a workhorse, okay? These are nothing more than try to be eye candy, try to mimic more expensive knives. Yes, if you're using this for very light situations, this can, you can play this off as a more expensive knife, and just be content with doing very light tasks with it, and play it off. But like I said, if you're the type that go to work, work in a factory, work at a retails, and you keep a knife on you constantly to open boxes, packages, cut straps, and things like that, don't take a chance on taking something like this to work. You'll wind up cutting your fingers off. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, like I said, maybe I'm really trashing this knife too much, but look at this. It won't even shut. I mean, I can't even flick it with even the momentum. Using momentum, I can't flick it. It's just it's really bad. Yeah, that's the D10 is. I mean, this is just horrible. Anyway, yeah, MOSS. That's the make of this knife. It's made in China, And if you know anything about this knife, please comment down below, educate me. If I'm wrong, I don't know. If you have this knife and if you tell me you bought it for a lot more, or if this is like a CVV or a Wii equivalent, I'm going to tell you, if this is, let's say, a CVV or a Wii equivalent, I'm going to have to tell you never ever buy a CVV or a Wii knife ever, because I can just tell by looking at these liners that this knife is just garbage. I mean, look. Where do you see quality in that? I mean, this is what gives China a bad name, in the knife community. This is it. This is the epitome of what I mean. Like I said, there are certain Wii knives and CVVs that have come a long ways, and they're right up there with some of the better knives now. But this is when you pick up something like this, it's like, it goes right back to, okay, never buy Chinese stuff again. Kind of statements arise. The clip is just BS right there. Yeah, so like I said, cosmetically, I wouldn't even carry this around. It just, it doesn't even play off as a more expensive knife at all to me. It just, the blade looks halfway decent, like I said, but overall, I wouldn't carry this around. Okay, I'm repeating myself now. All right, thanks for watching. Please comment down below if you know anything about this knife. MOSS is the make. It's made in China. They call it the rolling lock system. Okay. And I already showed you what the steel is supposedly made out of. Right there. That's it. Okie dokie. Oh, in the box, here it is. RUC 4004 China. Thanks for watching.